Blinky time, blinky time. It's almost time for blinky time. Come along and take our hands. We're going to Blinky Land.
Welcome back to another beautiful day in Blanky Land.
That's right.
To set the mood for you, it is a nice, dreary trickle here this November morning. Um, this episode is coming out right after Thanksgiving,
It's true.
and coincidentally enough, we did the food controversial food episode for the Thanksgiving week,
It's true.
which we didn't even plan, but it works perfectly.
Just worked out great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And-
how was Thanksgiving?
Oh man, I always love an opportunity for free food, so it was great. Never gonna pass that up. The older I get, the more I just will stand by the fact that of all the holidays, Thanksgiving is probably the best.
Yeah, I mean, there's been people. I saw a video recently where these guys were like ranking Thanksgiving foods.
Yeah.
And at the end, they were like, "I am blown away how many of these like Thanksgiving foods are actually really good and
Yeah.
should be eaten more often." You know.
Yeah. I mean, for the last couple years, we've kind of been getting away from the traditional Thanksgiving meal just
Ugh.
because, like, the family was sick of it. But I've heard of a lot of people doing that, actually steering away from, like, even Martha Stewart, I think, this year said she wasn't planning on making, like, a turkey or anything.
Who's Martha Stewart?
Funny.
The-
Snoop Dogg's friend.
Snoop Dogg's friend?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've never heard of him.
Oh, wow.
Is she the lady that's on like Food Network?
I don't know if she is anymore. She used to be.
Who is Martha Stewart?
She is super white, and she went to prison for something, and her and Snoop are like besties. And she does like cooking stuff.
Martha Stewart?
Yeah, dude.
Who is this?
You really
lady?
don't know who Martha Stewart is? Thought you were
Why
playing.
should I?
Why shouldn't you?
Why should I know who Martha Stewart is? American retail businesswoman, writer, and television personality.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know she was 82.
She needs to
She's
maybe
kicking that.
settle down. If she's suggesting not having turkey, which we have some funny stories about turkey, and already brewing stories about turkey.
There you go.
That's AI.
It could be. No, I don't think it is actually.
He just showed me a picture of Snoop Dogg with his arms around Martha Stewart.
I mean, they're tight. I'm pretty sure that was. Yeah. I mean, they just did like a photo shoot deal.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've heard the name, but she has no authority over my decisions
Oh, same.
in life.
Nobody does, honestly. I'm anti-authority.
Well, you know how there'll be people that were like, "Well, Martha Stewart said, you know, you gotta cook a turkey this way, and if you don't, then you're not doing it right," and blah 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 blah. It's like, listen, yep, Martha Stewart ain't Willy Wonka, and you ain't an Oompa Loompa, okay? You don't have to praise and sing little doodly doddlies and, you know, throw kids in chocolate rivers
It's true.
for this one person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that way about literally everyone. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. She's been kind of out of the limelight the last few years, but she does like a big celebrity
Her
Thanksgiving
skin looks
thing.
like it's in the limelight. How old she is?
I know. Yeah. That's what
81.
money-
You said
money can buy.
81?
82.
82?
Yeah.
My grandpa just turned 85 the other day.
Dang.
I was like, "Daggum, you 85?" He was like, "Yeah, honey." That's the one thing. That's a mountain thing I just
Honey?
picked up on.
Oh, it's your mom's dad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he will. In that area, men will, as a term of endearment, call basically anyone honey,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where like I guess that's not really a normal thing in some other areas. It's cute. I like it. I like when Papaw calls me honey.
Yeah, honey.
He's like, yeah, honey.
Get you some
I'm
cornbread, honey.
85, and I was like, oh yeah, what else you been up to? And he's like, well, I got a schedule at the DMV. Got to renew my license. I was like, you're still
Oh my
driving?
gosh.
He was like, yeah, they just said I need to pass an eye test.
I bet.
I was like, dang, I was like, all right.
What need of you, like at 85? Do you really need to be driving though? That's the question.
Gotta go to the Go Grocery, I guess.
Cause my grandma's 86 and she's still got driving.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be terrified to get anywhere on the road. She's like somewhat healthy. I mean, she's had the last little while. She's had some health scares like this year, but like still kicking. You know.
Yeah. Both of my grandparents were both sides. I mean, were pretty old for grandparents because my mom and dad are the babies of each family.
Right.
So, you know, traditionally, I think kids and like people get more time with their grandparents, which I'm blessed that they've made it this long, especially with their their health.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he was saying he's 85 and getting his license and stuff, I was like, daggum. Wow, I guess miracles really do happen. I guess.
bet. Yeah. Yeah. I never got to. Maybe I think maybe turkey is the key. Then in that case.
It's thawed in a sink.
Yeah. Thaw it in a sink.
No
Eat
bag.
it raw.
No, just no. Cook it, but okay. So, sink turkey. Last Thanksgiving,
Mm-hmm.
we show up to Papaw's house, and he's thawing the turkey, and the way he's thawing the turkey is unbagged, so it's just out in the air raw
Yeah.
in the sink, and he's just letting that thing thaw.
Yeah.
Which apparently grossed out some of the other family members. They obviously didn't voice their opinion. They just steered clear of the turkey when it was cooked and displayed.
Mm-hmm.
I ate the turkey. It was,
It was fine.
I was like, the little popper thing popped on it. That means it's all good. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, sink turkey became a thing. And then, so the other day I called him, when I was talking to him, because it was his birthday. So he's telling me about his license and stuff, and he was like, "Yeah, I got a big 23-pound turkey. That thing's big." He's like, "I got it in the sink thawing."
Lord have mercy.
So I was like, "How long is he letting that turkey raw dog in the sink?"
Honestly,
Dude. Hey, as long as it's cooked, it'll be alright.
Yeah. Yeah. I said I'm kind of
So
like.
we're having sink turkey round 2, more than likely.
Do you fry it? Do you ever fry a turkey?
No, I don't think I've even tried it before.
Yeah, it seems a little sketchy. And I definitely would be down to try it. I think last year some friends of ours did. And I feel like it's one of those things where it's almost impossible to do it without creating some sort of bomb-like fireball at some point.
People just don't know how to do it right.
How do you do it right? How would you do it?
You have to, so one, I think a lot of people get the oil too hot, first off. Second thing is they drop it in way too fast.
Yeah, you gotta go slow with it, man. You don't want that to overflow onto the flame.
You have to ease it in. The other thing is displacement, oil displacement,
Right, you
because
have
the
to
turkey's
plan
going
for that.
in, you got a lot for that. So there's smart ways to avoid it. It's just not a lot of people are smart.
This is true. This is something I've learned, but Yeah.
Yeah, and I've never tried a fried turkey. It would be interesting. I've always wanted to do a turducken because that
What's a
seems like
turducken?
so. That's where you get turkey. No, first you take a duck
Mm-hmm.
and you stuff a chicken into the duck, and then you put the chicken stuffed. No, the duck. No, the duck stuffed. No, the chicken stuffed duck into the turkey.
Interesting. That seems like
So it's 3 layers of critters that you're all cooking together.
some sort of weird science experiment or something from the Book of Enoch that just shouldn't be done.
I mean, hey, people think it's good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. A turducken.
Turducken. Yeah.
All right. What if we deep fried a turducken?
I don't know. You might break the fourth dimension if you do that.
It'd be worth a shot. I'd be down.
Yeah, I would like to try a turducken, and I would also like to try like a butt turkey, like you do butt chicken,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
where you butt chicken you'd like get a 40, and you drink maybe like a quarter of it, and then you cram the chicken on it upright, so it's like sitting
Right.
up,
Yeah.
and then you bake it, and then that beer in that can kind of percolates as the chicken's cooking, and it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done it before,
Okay.
but I'd like to do it with the turkey.
Yeah. All right. I have to take your word for that. Maybe next Thanksgiving
Yeah,
we'll
we'll do
it.
some butt turkey.
Butt turkey, some deep fried turducken, and we'll do it live.
Live,
So, yeah, so everyone can be a part of it.
live and in
So,
person.
Live.
Blank,
in person.
blanky Thanksgiving.
A very blanky Thanksgiving.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, now we're entering into a season of. I mean, geez, we've already been there, dude. People have had their Christmas tree up since October 1st. Ridiculous nowadays. It's like as soon as Halloween, even before Halloween is
Yeah.
over, people are already putting the trees out. And like, I went in to Walmart. It was like a couple days before Halloween. All the candy was already moved to one aisle, and they had the Christmas stuff out, and they were like putting all the Christmas stuff out. And dude, it's a lot. I am now that Thanksgiving is officially passed. Obviously, the next season is Christmas, but just everyone just is so bonkers with it, man. It's like it's a lot to take in.
Yeah. I think like, well, first off, the topic for today, if you haven't already picked up on it, is I don't know, season holiday gripes, season gripes, all that kind of
yes,
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot to gripe about.
The thing with Christmas stuff, which there's there's a lot of things about multiple holidays that annoy me, but with Christmas specifically, it's probably the worst culprit because it kind of everything that can be annoying about it happens.
Yeah.
But like the first thing that just sets it up for failure in my mind is just the whole time and place
Mm.
um perversion, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So like I feel like when I was younger there was still some semblance of the seasons respecting one another
Uh-huh.
versus jumping on top of each other.
Yeah. Right.
And that's like why I always felt bad for Thanksgiving cuz Thanksgiving gets overpowered by like the aftermath of Halloween to a certain extent.
Uh-huh.
But then now it's getting steamrolled from behind with like Christmas stuff. And so it's kind
Yeah.
of an afterthought.
And even with like Black Friday, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not what it was 10 years ago, but Black Friday is still just like so. It's annoying.
That is the nice thing
Honestly.
about the digital age is it kind of made Black
Alleviated some of
Friday.
that. I know I
Yeah.
heard a guy talking a couple days ago, and he was explaining to a customer. He's like, "Yeah, most people come in on Black Friday, and all of the things that they're there for have already been pre-ordered online and picked up, so there's nothing left." He's like, "People are frustrated, but that's just the way the world is now, where I've been getting emails for 2 weeks saying Black Friday sale, start now, It's like, it's kind of annoying. Again, it's pushing like this mindset for,
People are getting like stampeded though in like the early days of Black
oh
Friday
yeah,
and stuff.
dude, I know. We used to go, man. Like my mom was like
Seriously?
religiously, yeah. My mom would take us. Like I went with some friends a few times, but like, yeah, man, it was a few times, and you see a whole nother side of people.
So would you
It's
camp
like,
out or would you just get
no,
up like super
no, we would
early?
just get up early. It was mostly like Adam went pretty much every year. I went once or twice every few years, but Adam like would get with a group and they would go, him and my mom, my sister-in-law, and they would all just like wait in line from like 2, 3 a.m. till the doors open.
That's nuts.
Not me, dude. When I went, it was specific. I was a big movie guy, and this was like pre-Netflix. This is when Netflix was still doing DVDs. So I would like go get all the deals on DVDs, and then I would go home. Like that's all. And most of the time, if you waited a couple days, they were still there. So like I would. Some got picked over, and you had like $2 movies that were almost brand new. But yeah, dude. I mean, now though, like Thanksgiving, yeah, people don't even really. There's nothing about Thanksgiving leading up to Thanksgiving, but everything is about like after Thanksgiving, the Black Friday sale, or
Yeah.
like yeah. So it is kind of annoying. I feel I've always had an affinity for Thanksgiving because it gives us a chance to like slow down and relax and be with family and just like meditate on like the good things. Um, but yeah, it's kind of a bummer that everything's so over commercialized that it has lost all its meaning.
Yeah.
It's almost like I don't even know how to. It just feels weird that like everyone is like in this weird nightmarish dream. And
It's like, have you ever, you've probably experienced this, where you've known somebody for like a really long time.
you're saying that because I'm old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, you've known somebody for like a really long time, or like you just were aware of a person, and then you kind of just forgot about them, or like your relationship kind of just drifted or whatever,
Yeah.
and then you see them a couple years later, and they're like a completely different person,
Yeah.
and it's just like this weird sadness that like hits you.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. And I was very, very much like that.
it's like I saw this thing where the same kind of feeling I get around Christmas sometimes is I saw this video kind of talking about like what universities are doing to young people, especially young girls,
Mm.
and like it was these families sending in pictures of what their daughters look like before they went to university,
Mhm.
and then like 6 months to a year after, and they're just like all look like completely different people.
Dang.
Um, and of course they've done all sorts of stuff to themselves and whatnot, and you look at the pictures and think like, how can this be the same person?
Right.
Um, and that's the feeling I get around Christmas a lot of times. And I don't people always call me like a Scrooge and things of that nature, but I'm really just a Scrooge for keeping tradition
Mm.
and trying to avoid all the you know, the nonsense that comes with the commercialization and
Yeah.
the hype of like these cultural things that are going on like with Christmas and stuff. I think that's why part of the reason people want to start Christmas early and like it so much is because of like nostalgia factor of it like reminds them of
Yeah.
their childhood.
Right.
But in the process of doing that, I think it's one like I said, steamrolling the whole Christmas thing, right? Where like you're trying to get back to the nostalgia of it all. But then the other thing is like by doing that, you're not really achieving what the nostalgia is about, which is
Yeah.
about like the feeling of like family and happiness.
Right.
And if you're religious, like about the different practices that come around Christmas time with that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Christmas is one of those holidays that transcends like America, right? It's not just ours. It's kind of I mean,
Yeah.
it's a global thing, you know. And other countries, I mean, it's just a huge difference on like where the emphasis is and like
Yeah, dark European Christmas vibes are a lot more appealing to me.
right. Yeah, I mean, even like I had some friends from Kenya, and we were talking about this last year, just like how Kenyans look over at American Christmas and they're like, "What is going on?" Like everyone is just so gung ho over like this. Like, is it the gifts and the buying and the spending, and like they miss the point of like being with the people closest to them, or like you
And
know,
we literally have movies that show like
yeah,
that,
right,
where it's
exactly,
like all it shows all how like the commercialized stuff is just fluff, and it's about getting back to the heart of it. But it's still like
yeah. I mean,
you hear
that's
people stressed out about what people want, what and what lists they have to check off, and this
yeah.
and that.
It's almost like we're living in a simulation. You know, it's just like how is this like? It's so bizarre because it's almost like people won't wake up to it, and it's like it seems harmless enough, you know, because the world is that way, America's that way now. Like it's a normal thing to just go crazy over all of it, and it's not just like the spending and the gifts and all of that. It's just like I mean, the whole system itself is like built in such a way that it really feels like kind of like everyone is brainwashed. And I'm not hating on just Christmas specifically, but everything. Like, I mean, it just people just won't wake up for it, you know. And like, I don't know, what will it take for like people to be like, oh yeah, maybe I had this wrong. Maybe that wasn't what this was about. So I don't know,
I
man.
think people know what it's about. It's just like there's social pressure to do the other stuff.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Where it's like there's social pressure to get everybody something or whatever, and it's like
That gives
you
so
know
much anxiety for me, dude. 'Cause
yeah.
I'm like, you know, I love gift giving. Like for real, I really do. I'm not great at it, but that is one of the ways that I'm like, I love being able to like thoughtfully think about a great present. But the problem is like, how many people pay enough attention throughout the year where a gift is anything more than like obligatory, you know, where it's not like something that's like, oh no, they're really like this is something that they're really gonna love. This is really gonna make them feel some type of way, rather
Yeah.
than what did you want for Christmas? Like, are you sure? You know, what can I get? No, seriously, what do you want for Christmas? Or, oh, you know, I found this at like the $5 checkout section, or you know,
Yeah.
whatever, and it's just like a gag thing. It's like that is kind of like no, we don't need more trinkets to like throw up on a shelf or. So I mean, I think there's something to be said about like real gift giving where it's like intentional and thoughtful, and you guys are really good at that. Like Sarah and you, like, we're trying to be that way, but it's like you have to slow down enough throughout the rest of your life to really be able to pay attention enough to know. And some people I'm sure are better at it than others, but this whole like just getting gifts for the sake of it and feeling that pressure to just be like, what am I going to get my brother this year, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's different if there's like an agreement where it's like Secret Santa or something like that.
Which my family's doing that.
Yeah,
This
and our
year.
family does that.
Because it
Anytime we get
helps
together and-
financially, but it also helps you kind of like focus in on being more intentional with like what you're getting or what you're like making for the person.
Yeah.
Like I would much rather make
Oh, same.
somebody a gift.
We did
and
that
if-
a couple years ago.
Yeah, and if you do Secret Santa, it's a lot easier to be intentional with
Yeah.
like what you're doing with that.
Well, plus, I mean, I feel like the older you get too, like in the case of my parents and maybe your parents, I don't know, but if they want something, they're gonna go get it for themselves,
Yeah.
dude. They got what they need to get it, and it's like,
That's what Sarah was saying about my my dad. She's like, what do you get the man who
Gets
has
whatever he wants.
everything
Yeah.
or like could get whatever he wants? And I'm just always like, make him something.
Yeah,
He
that's-
would
and
much
that's the
prefer
answer,
something
yeah.
that's like thoughtful.
right, yeah.
Um,
That's the same with my dad, dude. I'm like, what do you get him? Because, like, if he wants something, he's going to go buy it. Or, like, he's going to go get it. And so, like, we got him a few years ago. Like, we made him, like, a little book. And, he's bawling, on Christmas Day. But most years, it's like, I don't want to just get him a Subway gift card or, whatever.
yeah. Do you ever see like which sibling can make the parent cry?
It's always me.
You always get them to cry,
I've never seen any of the other kids, any of my brothers make him cry.
like
No.
in a good way.
Oh, in a good way. Yeah, in a bad way plenty of times. But no, I feel like, yeah, anytime I've ever seen him get like sentimental and cry, it's been with me.
Yeah, I've never done it to my dad because my dad he only cries when he's talking about Jesus
Mhm.
or his dad, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
My mom, it's not that hard to make her cry about anything, but yeah, most of the time, like if I do anything kind of thought out, like I can get my mom to
Yeah.
get a good cry in, so
Yeah.
that's why I'm the favorite.
Mhm. Yeah. That's yeah, and that is a good sign of favoricy, If you're ever trying to find out. And that goes back to a couple weeks ago, the lies our parents told us. If they ever said, "We love our kids equally." Come on now. Come on.
There's always a little bit more
Yeah,
favor.
yeah. And if they told you that, chances are you're not that guy. But yeah, I mean that's
You're not that guy.
you're not that guy.
You're not that guy.
No. Yeah. Yeah, that's always a fun thing, trying to get them to cry. But yeah, dude, I don't know. It's like I'm kind of over the whole thing, but I do like Christmas. Like I like being with our family. Christmas morning is a lot of fun with the kids now, and then like we go over to my mom and dad's for breakfast, and we have like a huge breakfast every Christmas.
Yeah.
Or it's like a brunch, more like, but. And then we do like some gifts for the kids.
Yeah.
And that's it, But it's still like that kind of nostalgic feeling in your tummy, like on the day of. But all the stuff leading up to it is kind of takes away the meaning and the value of it, like where it's more exhausting than anything, and like more anxiety inducing because you got to think of gifts for this person and this person. And it's like. Yeah, and you think with unlimited supply of coffee, that would be a great gift for everyone. But my family doesn't really drink my coffee, which is like, it's a bummer.
Yeah.
It's a bummer. If you're listening, family, shame on you,
Get with the dirty beans.
dude. Have all the coffee you could ever want, and
All I've ever wanted.
they swear by those K cups. That's what it is, and
That Kurg.
I'm not gonna. I can't submit to that. So yeah. So anything that would be like a gift of value, that if someone got me a bag of coffee, dude, that is like the way to my heart. You know. But
Yeah.
it's,
That's why it's like I have I have like a list now, cuz like my wife's side of the family, they like to have a list cuz they want to get you something that they know you want.
yeah.
Where like growing up, we never really in my family, we never really made lists
Mm-hmm.
because we knew that if we did make a list, 9 times out of 10 you're not really getting anything on that list
Right.
because which I grew to appreciate it. When I was younger, I was like, y'all didn't give me anything that I actually wanted. I only thought that like one or two times when I was, being sassy.
Mm.
But growing up, like my parents always were very intentional with like trying to get us things and pick things out that um had thought behind them or were like something they thought we would really enjoy that we never considered,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know, because
Like socks.
I don't know if I ever got. Yes, I got wool socks one year for Christmas.
Yeah. Now I wish I would get socks for
I
Christmas.
no, I was
That's
fine.
like-
I was never the kid that hated getting clothes for Christmas.
Yeah.
I always liked getting clothes for Christmas. Um, but that was the thing was like, especially kids making a list. It's very like superficial type stuff, and
Mhm.
so they might get like one thing off of that list, but then get something that either would we could use longer or like they were intentional about trying to find us something else that they thought we would enjoy more that we never considered.
That makes
And
sense.
so like the list thing is kind of nice, but yeah, so I have a list of like stuff I would like, but I have expensive taste.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
like when I'm giving them my list, I'm like, don't feel obligated to get any of this crap because it's expensive and I have expensive taste.
Yeah.
If you want to ball out, great.
Hey. That's
If
what's up.
not, that's why I have on my list anything you make or put thought behind is totally fine.
Mhm.
I'm cool with that. And I like starred that on my list. I was like,
I haven't made a list in several years, but it's
I just think it's annoying because they'll keep asking like,
and I
you
don't
didn't
really
give us your list.
I don't
Like,
really
what's your
need
list?
anything, dude. You really want help? Pay a bill.
Yeah, I mean, it's like gas money.
Yeah, like come on.
Give me a Sheets gift card.
Yeah, I get a Sheets gift card like every year in my stocking.
Sheets gift cards,
Yeah,
nice.
that's where it's at because I can use it for food or gas.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
man.
you can
I mean,
get the gas, get points, and then buy food.
well, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really. Every time they ask, I'm like, I really don't need anything, honestly. Like, I have everything I need, you know? I'm sure I could think of something that I want, but I kind of want less the older I get, too. It's like, give me, like, some decent. There was, like, 5 years in a row where all I asked for were long bodied black tees. Like,
Yeah.
and that's all I used to wear, you know?
I mean, I think a decent. Some of the stuff. It's like a lot of my things are like tools,
Mm-hmm.
shoes.
Yeah.
And like guns.
Right. Yeah.
And then anything to go with those. So like different things for the tools, ammo, whatnot, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like I with the kids we're going through that right now because it's like, what do you guys, what do you want for Christmas? And then every ad that comes on YouTube, Nora's like, Daddy, I want that for Christmas. Daddy, I want that for Christmas. Like, you don't even know what that is. It's like,
I remember one year, I'm not going to out this person, but this kid I knew, he was maybe 8 at the time. There was like those toy magazines,
yeah.
and he bout circled everything in that magazine.
Mm-hmm.
and got like 90% of it.
Really?
Yeah. I was like,
Jeez.
daggum.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's No,
At least I think that happened. Maybe I made that up, but it
Wow.
happens. Sometimes kids are like, circle through what you want.
And they get it, yeah. And
And
that's,
that's
I
crazy.
mean, my parents would always go way, way out of the way. I was like, dude. And then they do that with the girls now. I'm like, we don't need all this stuff, man. We need to
Yeah.
get rid of stuff.
Well, okay. Here's a pet peeve of mine that it more happens during birthdays,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the same kind of feeling I get with the adulteration of holidays.
Right.
So, this is a fairly common practice that I've seen, and it is where parents or other people will buy kids of a family member that are having a birthday gifts
Mm-hmm.
so that way the kids don't feel left out,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So it'll be like, your aunt's birthday or, your uncle's birthday, and then someone shows up and gives his kids
Some
gifts.
gifts. Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
just like, dude, what are you doing?
Right.
How are they going to learn to be
Content
patient?
and yeah. Right. Yeah. I don't know, dude. It's a strange, and I feel like we don't realize so much of like potentially some of the issues that we have as adults of like consumerism or discontentment or whatever can be traced back to stuff that did happen during like gift giving holidays, like if you get everything you want all the time, what does that teach you about the world, and what happens when you don't get what you want?
I'm
And
scared
it's
for
like,
the iPad kid generation, dude.
yeah, dude.
I mean, what they're already saying about like the stuff in schools with them,
I believe it, man.
that's scary.
That's how I feel about Gen Z. I'm scared for
Gen Z's interesting because it is a hard split.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Like millennials, it's a very kind of fluid, more of like a spectrum versus like
Yeah.
political beliefs or whatever. Gen Z, for whatever reason, it's a lot of times hard one way or another, and there's less kind of like middlers
Right.
unless they come from like my specific timeline, which is like 1999 to 2001. Like that gap.
That's like that's like the little like just after, because I think 97 was when it switched, 97 or 98.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean you definitely have like the ones that are like very smart and like justice minded, and they're like activists and they're changing like culture, and then you have the ones that Naruto run everywhere or like
Yeah.
and it's like
Dye their hair bright green.
like that's the switch.
Yeah.
It's like yeah. But no, I mean with the new this last generation, I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. And it's challenging parenting in that too, cuz you're like you got to limit screen time, and I can only imagine. I mean, it's just going to continue to. I mean, we're just now coming up on, 15 years since. Not quite 15 years since the iPhone. So, I mean, really starting to see like the effects of what unlimited information and technology at our fingertips.
A little
Can
bit of
do.
everything all of the time.
Yeah, I mean, literally.
Apathy's a tragedy and boredom is a crime. A little bit of everything all of the time.
What song is that? I know I've heard that.
Well, welcome to the internet.
Oh yeah. Oh,
That
John
from-
Bellion.
No, Bo
No?
Burnham.
Bo Burnham. Oh, okay.
Not John Bellion.
John Bellion has a song like that too, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's from the shoot, it's from the album that has Hand of God on it. I can't remember the name of the album, but yeah, he's got a song on that too. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's interesting because we're starting to see those effects. Imagine what it's gonna be like when like these kids that their entire life it's just screens all the time.
Yeah.
You know, they get screens in school, like screens everywhere, and
I'm telling you, man, the Amish,
they
Yeah.
got something right.
they're gonna have a, a leg up. There was someone who did the math, and they were like saying that if Amish population rates continue the way they do, they're gonna be like 50% of the population by like 2050
That's crazy.
because they're the only ones that are producing at a consistent rate comparatively to like modern Americans.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that'd be kind of cool.
Well, maybe we all need to go back to being Amish.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little Amish. There was a good movie.
A little Amish.
No, maybe
About like a Amish little person that would like just stand underneath the cows and milk them.
No, that's terrible. I'm sure. I mean, maybe. No, there was a movie that came out in the '90s for richer or poorer. It's like Tim Allen and Kirstie Alley, where he's like, he gets in trouble for like, I don't know, tax fraud or something. They had like a ton of money, but he got it illegally, and so he's like trying to go through and basically like avoid getting arrested and going to prison, and so he heads out to Amish country. He's on the run, and he overhears these two Amish guys talking about their cousins, the Yoders, that are coming to town, and so he like has this idea. He goes gets his wife, and he's like, "All right, we're gonna go pretend to be the Yoders," and so they show up dressed like Amish people, and they're like, "Yeah, we're your cousins, the Yoders," and know nothing about it, and so like they bring them in, and it's a really cool movie though, but it kind of shows them like realizing they don't need as much of what they thought they needed.
It's like Green
And
Acres.
yeah, and then just realizing what they needed was to slow down and maybe like a change of how they viewed the world, and they brought some of their world to the Amish, like introduced some colors and things like
Colors.
that. But then at the same time they're like, oh, we don't need all of this technology, and we don't need like, I don't know. It's a good movie though. Tim Allen, he's always great. But
There's a decent amount of Amish people becoming Mennonite too.
oh, for real?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I was watching this guy, and he was talking about. No, I wasn't watching him. I had a conversation with him. That's right. I met him at the fair, and he was ex-Amish. He left during Rumspringa,
Gotcha.
and he was saying that he was helping some of the people in the community he left, because his community was okay with him like going back and visiting,
Mhm.
like just like for family reasons or whatever.
Right.
And so like he was talking about how he was helping some of the people in the community transition to Mennonite and like becoming a part of Mennonite groups because apparently some of the elders in his community had like in his words let people starve over a winter to like death,
Oh my gosh.
and so
Intentionally?
I don't know. Listen, I talked to this guy for like 30 minutes.
Okay.
um,
All right.
but yeah, he was saying like because of that, there's people wanting to get out, and so they were joining the Mennonite
The
community.
Mennonites.
Yeah.
What's the biggest difference there between like Amish and Mennonite?
One celebrates Christmas, and the other does. No. Mennonites just use more modern technology, so they'll still use like cars and stuff. Um, they probably use cameras, and I think they use like flip phones. But they still live a very like traditional, sustainable lifestyle.
The older I get, the less culty that sounds, and the more like wise that sounds.
Yeah,
'Cause
I mean
like,
it's not really culty. It's just it
no, but when
can
you
be.
tell someone on the surface like, "Oh, we live in this group and we don't never leave," and yeah, like we can have some conveniences, but we still use flip phones, and someone that like a modern person, they're like, "Oh, So you're in a
Yeah,
cult.
I guess it's cult.
It's
It
like,
sounds
you
culty.
know, like
I think it sounds great.
no, yeah, same.
I mean, you see them.
That's-
You see them like
yeah, I've run into
some people
Mennonites.
mistake them as Amish because they basically dress the same, just about.
I think you have a better
Um,
chance of seeing Mennonites out than Amish
yeah.
people. You know.
No, they're
there was a
cool.
while that Sarah's dad was looking super Amish.
Yeah, he was.
That's he had the
He's gone Amish.
yeah.
Back to his roots.
That's yeah.
All right,
that's,
let's get
anyway.
away from the Amish stuff. What's something? Oh, it's time to wake up, everybody.
Time to wake up.
What's something else like about the Christmas stuff that pets your peeve? You know,
You know?
because mine is mostly about timing.
Like it starts too early.
Starts too early, and not appreciating the different seasons for where they are. At least that's one of the main crux. I have other ones, but
Yeah, I think mine just really stems around like consumerism, and it just in a world that like is actually like we are seeing the pace and the access to information and the consuming of all the material goods as being honestly damaging not just to us but to the planet. Like we've seen this over the last several years, and I mean it's a fact, but commercialization of Christmas really just exacerbates the problem. And I mean, and people just like go along with it, and it's super annoying because they I feel like it just helps take people further away from what they're actually looking for, which is like a slower pace with their family where they can actually be present instead of stressing about the next thing they have to get to or the next party they have to go to or whatever, or whether it's getting a gift or whatever. Like I love the season. Yeah, again with you on timing, I think it needs to maybe not take up 2 full months. I feel like that's a little much.
yeah, because people are like, I don't have enough time to enjoy it.
Well, that's the thing. It's because you're not enjoying it because you're so gung ho on like
Yeah,
gift giving and having to get presents. But if yeah, just slow it down, be with your family, and just be like present. I don't know. That for me is like.
and
a whole
also
lot.
like going back to what the whole thing, at least the Christian reasons behind it. It's like we kind of were talking about this before we started the podcast, but a lot of Christian tradition comes from a appropriation. And when I use the word appropriation, I use it in a more positive sense because to appropriate is to appreciate.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
There that is. So is that why you like the new dreadlocks I'm sporting?
Yeah, they're pretty
Yeah.
hot.
Yeah.
Which actually, I mean, white people were doing braids for a long time too. So,
I know.
and dreads.
Dreads.
So that's not exclusively a African continent type thing.
Right.
So there's that little tidbit for you, if you want a hot take. But I mean, basically, when it came to how okay, this is just gonna sound like a white culture power rant, which it probably is, but we're gonna go with it anyways.
All right.
'Cause listen, we only got like 7 people listening to this thing. So basically, when Christianity was spreading, it started to become more and more Gentile populated
Right.
because there came a point where, after the first church started, the Gentiles that started becoming Christians started becoming more anti-Semitic because they were like, the Jews killed the Messiah.
Right.
Why should we like them?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't hold that belief. That's just what was the common kind of, thing floating around.
Right.
So, as more and more like Gentile pagan groups started joining the Christian church, they had their own traditions that they had for a long time based in paganism.
Mm-hmm.
And so the church would take those things and basically Christianize them and create new rituals and practices that were like the pagan ones, but were now based in Christian values and practices. So that's why it's like, is the Christmas tree pagan? Yes, but in a loose sense. Because really all the Christians did was take why the pagans celebrated the Christmas tree
Right.
and created reasons to use it rather than glorifying the Christmas tree to glorify God through the process of like iconography, right?
Yeah.
Because like the reason the Orthodox Church and the Catholic Church use icons is they're not. This is a common misconception.
Yeah.
Excuse me. They don't use icons to like worship them. Like a lot of people are like, why are they, worshiping these pictures of people?
Yeah.
Right.
Right. They're
The,
supposed to.
the reason they use icons is because icons are it's a physical item to represent that saint or that person because they were physical people. That's
Yeah.
why like in the Orthodox Church especially, like all the apostles and Jesus, they have like icons that are on a level to where you can kiss them because they'll kiss the icons
Right.
because in their mind they are kissing something physical and getting a blessing from something physical because they were a physical person on this earth.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it kind of took off in a time when the majority of the church was illiterate and they couldn't
Yeah.
understand like they couldn't read the scripture, and so icons were an early way to like
Interact.
and to show like, okay, well, this is the Messiah, this is like, and so that they could put like visuals to like what they're hearing,
Yeah.
like the
So that's kind of like the same thing with the Christmas trees. It's like the meaning behind it is positive
right.
to where it can be used in a way to glorify God by adopting the culture and then modifying it.
Mm.
So that's why it's like, does it have pagan roots? Technically, yes. Did it bother me for a long time, for a while? Yes. But, I mean, the more you learn about it, that's just the common way that specifically white culture grew, especially, like in Europe and stuff, is, through that methodology.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I was just reading a little bit on this. It's talking about how Roman culture was like they had two holidays during December,
Yeah.
one in the beginning of the month and one on the 25th to celebrate the birth of like their sun god or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, who was the main oppressor of the Christian church for the first, couple of centuries? It was Romans, right? So like they know the culture very well, obviously. Like, and then, yeah, I was reading about the Christmas trees too, like hanging them upside down. They used to decorate them
Yeah.
upside down. But I mean, I feel like that shouldn't be as big of an issue as people make it, because obviously that's not what's going on now. Like,
Yeah.
and
I think modern Santa teachings are more toxic than decorating a Christmas tree.
unless
because
they
oh,
talk about the real Saint Nick.
yeah. So like that's the other thing is like a gripe I have around the season is Santa's not as big as a thing now as I think he used to be, like, in the you know before the digital age, basically. Um, because I think that is, stresses stuff out as like kids take their, not kids, sorry, parents take their kids to Santa and they tell Santa like what they want for Christmas, and then mom and dad are like, "Oh, what'd you tell Santa you wanted?" And he's like, "I want to blah 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 blah." And so now the parents are stressed out. They're like, "Well, I got to get what Santa said they're
Right.
going to get for Christmas, otherwise they're not going to believe in Santa."
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I get it, man. Yeah, the Santa thing is super annoying, but it's like, like the real Saint Nick knocked the dude out during the Council of
yeah,
Nicene, right? Like
yeah,
it's I mean, it's cool. It's cool. Like if you talk about a historical saint, I heard someone telling like the way that they explained to their kids Santa was that he was a person that died a long time ago, like,
yeah.
or whatever. But
And that's what I
again, it
grew up
depends
with.
on what your goal for the season is too. Like, if your goal for the season is spend time with your family and make sure your kids get gifts and tell them about Santa, sure, you know. But if your goal is to like, if you come from like a Christian tradition and like your goal is to draw attention to like Jesus,
Yeah,
well then like maybe that should
um,
be what you lean into a little bit more than
yeah.
trying to confuse.
Because it seems like a lot of
Like,
times that's an afterthought,
you're right, right.
where really it should be the forethought. And I also had the problem with like for a while the I mean, through what we know, Jesus was really born around the same time of year that he was like crucified,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Near like Passover time and stuff,
Mhm.
which is like in the spring. And even like today, some Christians, if they hear that, they're like, "What are you talking about? Jesus was born on 25th. It's during Christmas time.
Yeah.
That's dumb. Why would it be born in the spring? They never taught us that."
Never taught us that.
Um,
Sunday school.
but yeah, he's actually born in the spring, and I was like, "Why?" When I was a spunky kid, I was like, "Why don't we just celebrate Christmas?" I was like, "Why don't we just do Christmas like the commercial stuff now and do the Jesus stuff in the springtime?
Huh.
Because that's when it actually happened."
Interesting.
Um, but now the way I kind of think about it is like how Korean birthdays work.
Oh, how did
So-
Korean's birthday work?
In Korea,
Mm-hmm.
they celebrate everybody's birthday at the turn of the year.
Oh.
So everybody's birthday is all on the same day,
Okay.
right? So it's like, were they actually born on that day? No, but everybody celebrates it on that day because that is what everybody does, and
Right.
how they hold that in their mind. So I now think about it kind of like that way. I was like, yes, technically it's at a different time,
Right.
but this is like our placeholder for that, and so this is when we do it.
Yeah. I think Advent is a good tool too for like.
Yeah, and
Teaching
I
the
didn't
kids,
even like
like-
really grow up with Advent all
Yeah,
that
we
much.
did. We didn't either, man. My family doesn't. We do, like me and Aaron and the girls, but like growing up, I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
So I was probably in my 20s, and which is sad too because like that is such a like historical part of the church history. Like when it comes to waiting for the coming of Jesus, like it would have been super formational for me as a kid having this chance to like anticipate not Santa or not the presents but to like Jesus, and my kids like very fortunate, but they're very interested in like stories about Jesus and so the struggle has been teaching them in such a way that like we've talked about this before where it's not stuff that they're gonna have to unlearn later, or we like lay a bunch of like concepts and things that they're not ready for on it. Instead, just like bare bones, like who is Jesus, and like they're very interested in that, and they ask a ton of questions. And so like Advent is something like this year, at the age they're at now, I feel like is just a great time for them to really invest and dig in and like be able to anticipate, with that. So I don't know, man. I'm excited. I'm excited for that. But I think that's something that might be like a cure for some of this cultural, commercial BS that we got to deal with.
Embrace tradition.
Embrace tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That's just my rant. But
Well, there's something that we can rant about. You know what that is?
Grateful Coffee.
Grateful coffee. Indeed.
Yes, Grateful Coffee is a great coffee company. We source fantastic coffees from all over the world, roast them, deliver them to you within days. We also partner with nonprofits in Guatemala devoted to doing good, helping people live a better story through building programs, community projects, education initiatives, nutrition programs. We're very, very stoked to be partners with some great organizations. And every time you purchase a bag of coffee, you are participating with us. So we believe your coffee can change the world. Go to grateful.coffee to find out how. But
Do I?
do you know?
Tell me why.
I'll tell you something. There's a company that if you're looking for a gift this holiday season and you want something that's going to be meaningful and something that the person you get it for will never forget, look no further than Oak Nut Workshop.
This is true. If you want anything to do with leatherworking, my words, leatherworking, woodworking, or metalworking, such as blacksmithing or fabrication, hit up Oak Nut Workshop. I'm the guy who runs that. I know I've been talking in the third person a lot, but sometimes you just gotta accept facts for what they are.
That's right.
With the holiday season rolling around, if you want something thought out and not just bought off a $5 shelf, hit me up. I'm also now in 2 stores. You can go to the Haven shop in Nightdale. I got some of my stuff there. And now you can also go to Nofo in Five Points in the Raleigh area. There's some of Oak Nut wares there. So if you're wanting a quick and easy gift, you can hit up one of those shops. Or if you want something more custom, you can contact me on my website, oaknutworkshop.com. Or if you just want to check out any of the stuff I make, you can check me out on social medias at Oak Nut Workshop.
Boom.
Bada beam. So there's plenty of other things I could rant about this, but we got a whole month of lead up
That's right.
to just Scrooge about the Christmas season the entire time.
That's right.
And we could also probably have one positive episode at some point. So, are there any final words, thoughts you wanna?
I would say just don't rush into seasons before their time. Enjoy right now. Because if you keep living for a day that you haven't earned yet, you're never going to be able to appreciate the day you're in right now.
Very true.
I didn't mean for that to sound so philosophical and deep, but you get what I'm saying. Don't rush, slow down, enjoy the moments before they're gone.
True.
Anyway. Well, this has been fun.
It's been a good one. Good blankie time.
Good blankie time. It's a day. It's a good day for blankies right now.
Yeah.
So
That
grab
is true.
yourself a blankie and a blankie buddy and cuddle up, chillax, and enjoy.
drink some tea, drink some coffee.
Mm.
Maybe throw on an old Christmas movie. Now that it's past Thanksgiving.
That's right. That's right. It's gotta be a good one though.
Yeah. Not one of them bad ones like Jingle Jangle.
Oh, man.
That movie's terrible.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad Christmas movies.
Yeah.
Stick with the classics.
Which we'll talk about that
Yeah,
in another
there'll be a
episode.
whole episode on that.
About why are the classics so much better.
All right,
Yeah.
bro.
Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, man.
Get yourself some blankie time.
Blanky out.